3, 2, 1. All right.
We are hoping that they will spawn potentially after the full moon of July. An antibacterial topical paste, and that usually stops that, and it did. And you know, I was really pleasantly surprised that we didn't have any at that time that were like losing tissue, their color look. Every major dive site in the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary and see living elkhorn coral, then we've won. Really, really encouraging.
What kind of transition you want to do first? And what kind of care are they getting right now while we're here?
Very attentive care.
Really?
Yeah, so these guys, because we know how sensitive they are visually checked multiple times a day. Hold on, sorry. Hold on. Here, let me take this basket. Yeah, gotcha. All right, now, never mind. Taking too much time. It's easier just to load another container. Okay.
And I think that might be it for this case.
That's all right. We can. Tetris will be last. We're gonna need two of these. We're gonna need two of these for pillar coral, though.
Got the corals home. Yay!
Yeah.
Analysis.
When you like are like you keep things like this or this. I've got this. Maybe like once we start
Here you go.
4. Thank you.
Bigger or smaller? Either. What if I give you 2 squares? Squares? I'll take 2 squares. Stow the snail. Yeah.
Here, right in the front. Start up the show. At 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, we had some stress event or bleaching event.
Taking stuff back from the site stuff, so these are all full, so these are.
a 3D printed structure of biodegradable material that is used to place over top of an outplanted coral, just like that, essentially. And it is just meant to simply physically be over top of the coral to prevent parrotfish or other fish that may come and take bites out of the coral tissue when the corals are newly outplanted onto the reef. Corals that we grow here at the aquarium are typically about the size of a quarter when we bring them back to the ocean. And it is important to try to protect these corals when we first put them out there because they're only this big, and a lot of coral outplants in their first 1 week or 2 weeks directly after outplanting, parrotfish will come with their beaks and take scrapes of the live tissue. So we're hoping that these 3D printed structures help physically block the parrotfish or other fish from coming to take bites from the coral. So this is an initial project to test this material, see how long it lasts in the ocean for. We don't know if it will break down after a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, but we're hoping that this project will lead to that information so that we can expand in the future. The FWC team down in the Florida Keys is going to be conducting all the monitoring for this project. We at the Florida Aquarium went to assist with the outplanting, but they will be going back periodically to monitor the corals and the structures to see how they do over time.
So part of our responsibility as caretakers of these corals is to ensure their safety. We've rescued them from the wild due to disease and warmer than normal temperatures, and while they're here, we want to do everything we can to ensure that they're safe, and part of that is our hurricane evacuation plan. So we work with other partners to make sure that they're as safe as they can be during emergency situations. An important part of why we're doing this work here at the Florida Aquarium is to prepare these species for our changing climate. We are trying to produce genes of corals that are more heat tolerant and more resistant to disease, and we need to be able to produce as much genetic diversity as possible to find those special corals that might be more tolerant to our changing climate. So having a diverse group of parents, especially some of these colonies that have survived disease and heat stress events, is really important for our breeding program here at the Florida Aquarium. So a lot of these brain coral species are species that actually build the foundation of our coral reefs. They're large boulder colonies that build the foundation that provides the structure that we rely on from coral reefs. They provide the shoreline protection, the habitat for other animals, and without these diverse species, we're going to lose the habitat of coral reefs. A lot of these colonies that we sent to Reef Institute in the Georgia Aquarium are the only ones that exist anymore. Their parent colonies they were collected from are now dead in the wild, especially with the pillar coral. A lot of these species don't exist in the wild anymore. So we just didn't want to risk the chance of them being stuck here without power. So we were very grateful to the Georgia Aquarium and the Reef Institute that they were able to take these very important genetics, these colonies from us, and keep them safe for us for a little while we were preparing for the hurricane and being prepared for our worst case scenario. Luckily that didn't happen, but we just didn't want to take that chance, and luckily we have great partners that are able to help us out.
Now today's job is putting these little guys back in the ocean.
Out of a biodegradable filament, and the idea is
So the long and short of it is that this facility is going to allow coral to stay in the United States, frankly, all across Florida, for the remainder of our lives and heading on to there. Right now we're facing a crisis with coral die-off across the entire state and throughout not only the Keys system, but also extending all the way up the East Coast. This gives an opportunity to be able to propagate corals, to bring that back into the wild, and those areas that have had a die-off, we can actually get new corals in there. So literally centuries from now, this work is going to be remembered. Seen some major issues in areas that I've been going for years, whether it be Lou Key or Summerlin Key or other areas throughout the Keys systems, all the way down to the dry Tortugas. We're seeing issues that have been happening, whether it's from overloaded nutrient or other items. Whether we had a major issue this past year where we saw temperatures really go up in our ocean system. So through this work here, we're going to be able to ensure that if we have another issue like that, we're going to perpetuate the coral. Well, coral is such a basic building block of so many different systems within our state, whether it's storm protection, overall nurseries for juvenile fish or others. Also gives a great carbon sink that's out there dealing with carbon dioxide. It's amazing what coral does and how well it serves humanity, frankly. Well, the drive is nothing compared to the life cycle of coral. I mean, you look at what's happening there. This is a very significant step for the entire state of Florida and frankly for southeastern United States. And the ability to take coral, spawn it in a laboratory, then be able to reproduce and have it then go back out in the wild, it is worth every minute of a drive. I drive 24 hours to be able to be here.
I got those last beyond the day two. They will be honors today. Is it working?
Useful in this situation, but it's also just as quick to do the cryo, and then if there's
$294A, thank you.
It's an exciting day here at the Florida Aquarium because we just opened up our 4,200 square foot expansion to our Coral Conservation and Research Center. The Conservation and Research Center that is doing cutting edge science and research to truly save the Florida reef tract and coral reefs around the world. Well, over the last 5 years, our coral program right here in Tampa Bay has done amazing work. We've had very first all-time breakthroughs in breeding coral in human care for the first time ever. But this past summer, we were called out on an emergency kind of assessment of the temperatures in the Keys rose to a level they've never risen to before, and the urgency to really ramp up efforts was critically important because those reefs are struggling. They are having a negative growth impact because of the pressures around them. So to open up this facility to expand our needed coral science and research and restoration efforts is critical now more than ever, and we're up for the charge. Yeah, one of the unique things we do here at the Florida Aquarium is we do focus on science and research. We focus on resiliency, tolerance, genetics, which is a different way to look at coral, because if you take coral and just rear it, put it back in the conditions that it's in, the survival rate is not always great. But what we're trying to do is use science and research to get ahead of some of the pressures and stresses that are out there. Now, we need everybody to do their part. So we clearly need to put coral back in the wild. We need to make sure that those reefs are protected. But the science and research that here really will truly have a positive impact on decades and really truly millennia to come. And our goal is to save that coral reef, the Florida Reef Tract, from extinction. Yeah, our partners at FWC, DEP, the state of Florida, NOAA have been absolutely fantastic to help get this facility open and built. Their investments, of over $3 million have been just amazing.